Hey yo, it's the Grand Duke. What's up, guys? I've got Tabletop Simulator open. I'm playing some Heroscape, and I want to show you some of the armies that I have developed over the course of my time playing the game. So don't worry, I am not going to talk about every army that is on this screen. That would take forever. I'm just going to show you some of my favorites, show you some that I think are highly effective, and I want to know what you guys have to think about them. So stick around, we'll dive in there, and let me know what you think at the end of the video. One more thing before we get started. Every army will be 495 or 500 points, and every army will adhere to a 24 hex character space limit. So keep that in mind. This first army, though, is probably my favorite one that I'm going to be showing today, and probably the most effective one that I'll be showing on this video. It focuses around Ornak and his interactions with unique figures of Utgar. Keep in mind that uncommon heroes count as unique heroes when it comes to the Red Flag of Fury aura. So, Order Marker 1 being placed on Ornak, you can take up to 2 unique heroes you control. You can take turns with them instead of Ornak. They just have to be within 8 clear sight spaces prior to their movement. So, that gives us insane flexibility with all of these different heroes. Then for Order Markers 2 and 3, you have options, but a great option is to put them on the Blade Gruts so that you can use Orc Champion bonding and either reposition Ornak into maybe a safer position if necessary, or you can move Nirak around to buff your Blade Gruts as well as hopefully defend Ornak. Now, one more option that we can flex in here is to put Grimnak in instead of Fen Hydra at the same 120 point value. He counts as another Orc champion that you could use in this situation to really add to the flexibility that the Blade Gruts bring into the team. But one more interaction that I want to focus on. Ornak and Marku Azumwan. With the Red Flag of Fury aura, Order Marker 1 is placed on Ornak. Eternal Hatred over here with Marku Azumwan says after revealing an order marker on this card. That's the key. Revealing an order marker doesn't happen if Red Flag of Fury activates Marku Azumwan. So you don't have to roll for Eternal Hatred. You don't have to risk your opponent taking a turn with him and potentially killing one of your later round order markers. He's a very safe option early game in this case, and you don't have to wait till the end to use him. So again, extra flexibility that's really nice. You have to focus on the order marker management, and you have to focus on keeping Ornak alive. But this army is highly effective when that is the case, and when you get that done. So here's another army for you, and I really enjoy this army. Well, spoiler alert, there's no army that I'm not enjoying that I'm showing on this video. So with that in mind, this army contains a lot of my favorite units in the game, and of course, it's focusing on the Cap 1 Gladiators and their bonding abilities with Retiarius and Crixus. So the strategy on this one is a lot simpler than the last army I showed you. You're going to want to have as many order markers as you can on the Cap 1 Gladiators early game. Focus on your bonding with Retiarius and Crixus, and also to get that initiative advantage so that you can take those very important power positions and maybe get some power glyphs before your opponent on the first round. That always helps your odds. For range, Guilty McCreech on the cleanup, and Zenian Guards are a great option to have in this army as well. I always really like them as a unit just for their high defense, even though they're a unique squad and you run the risk of losing them early. I just really like what they bring to the table as far as the ranged and defensive flexibility. So this one's a lot simpler than the first army I showed, but still one I really, really enjoy. So this army, you might not see something like this army every day, but I'm happy with it nonetheless. I've had some success using it. The Ashigaru Harkibus, I really don't use them that often, but in this army, I'm capable of using them because of that point value right there, 60. The 4th Massachusetts Line costs 70, and the 10th Regiment of Foot costs 75. So this is the only ranged unit of that type that we can really fit into this army with all the other point values that we have. Again, maxing out at 500. But the focus here is to let the Ashigaru Hakibus stay on the back line with their low defense but their ranged attacks, and let the Mara Dividers go forth and tangle up your opponents and absorb the majority of the blows. We have Subakna, of course. Hive Supremacy, while it may not seem like much, you can add 1 to your die roll for the cell divide, taking your 20% chance to divide into turning it into a 25% chance to do your cell divide. So not the best thing in the world, but Subakna is of course a decently strong figure in and of himself, as long as he doesn't get taken out that quickly. But not too much to think about with this army. You just have to keep the Ashigaru on the back line behind the Maro dividers. Hopefully the rolls go in your favor, and you should have a really fun time with this one. So here's another interesting army, and one thing you can do in this one, you can probably already see a substitution that you can make, and I'll explain that here right now, actually. You can substitute, instead of Thorgrim and Eldgrim at a total of 110 points, you can put in Sir Gilbert at 105 points, who you typically see operating with the Knights of Weston as their human champion that they bond with. He's capable of repositioning these guys with Jandar's Dispatch, of course, but what I want to focus on in this one is using these two early on. Get them out there into the fray, do a little bit of damage, but then obviously they're going to get taken out, and you want the Warrior's Armor Spirit specifically on Sir Dupuis, because when that combos with Chalice of Fortitude, he increases his defense not by 1, but by 2, if he's got Thorgrim's defensive armor spirit on him. So that allows Dupuis to live even a little bit longer, ideally, and begin to do some more late game damage and leave less for Guilty McCreech to clean up. Now this one takes a little bit of, I guess, imagination with how you're using Dupuis. You might even have to disengage a little bit. He does have a tactical disengagement ability, though. So if you position him and reposition him where he stays close to the knights, then this could be a very effective army and a very effective unit overall. So one last army to finish this out. This is a just good bread and butter army. Lots of high tier units available. I'm pretty sure there have been quite a few people to use something like this. You have the Phantom Knights, Maburksa, Maro Warriors, and Kamanawa, and it's very simple and straightforward. You have 12 Phantom Knights to use as you please, get in your opponent's face, keep them away from your ranged units, and all of these guys operate really well on their own, but just focus on your order marker management, and this should be a pretty good army composition right here. You should be able to win a lot of matches just focusing on gameplay essentials, just the fundamentals, and these guys should be able to take quite a few matches, depending on how the dice fall, of course, as Heroscape always is. But this is a good, effective 500-point army to round out our little army featurette today. So, those are all the armies that I'm going to spotlight today. However, I'd definitely be interested in making another video, maybe one that is focused on some of the lower tier or the more experimental armies that I've brewed up. If you guys want to see something like that, definitely let me know down in the comments. And also, if you guys have any changes that you'd make to the armies that I showed off, I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to see what you think is better than some of the compositions that I've put together. But with that, I'm going to end it here. I'm Duke. Thank you guys for tuning in. Live peaceably with everyone. Love your neighbor. And I'll catch you guys next time.